Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of The Awesome with Cody. As usual, I'm your host, Cody, and today we are going to be wrapping up March 2021's theme of massive monster movies. So we have been talking about massive monster movies for the kind of getting ready for the release of Godzilla vs. Kong in theaters and on HBO Max. Here in the States, it's the day this is out, the 31st of March. If you are overseas, it's actually the 26th, last Friday. So hopefully you've seen it already. If you haven't, in theaters there. I don't think it's on HBO Max anywhere else, but out of states. Check it out if you want. It's one of those movies where, again, I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know how good it is or if it's good at all. But it's one of those things where it's a spectacle and you kind of want to see it in theaters because it is so, ridiculous. So check it out in theaters if you can, if it's safe. Obviously, we're still kind of in the throes of a pandemic and all, so be careful. Be wary about how you're doing things. Otherwise, check it out from the safety of your home. If you have HBO Max, or if you know if someone has HBO Max, go over and do a movie night somewhere. Check it out. It'd be fun times, I believe. So, Kong Skull Island is the movie we're talking about today. This is the technically the second movie in the in Legendary's MonsterVerse movies. It started with Godzilla, the 2014 one, this one, and then we got Godzilla, King of the Monsters. And then, of course, Godzilla vs. Kong coming up this year, right now, as you're hearing this. The movie, we'll get into the movie in a minute. So who makes this movie? So the director of this movie, his name is Jordan Vogt-Roberts. The name, to me, I don't really know his name, right, like, for anything. Right off the top of my my head, and then when I looked at it at his career, I was like, well, how the fuck did he get this movie? Because he did The Kings of Summer, which is a coming of age story about I don't even know if I saw, where was it? About a bunch of kids in, I read it briefly. Someplace, I can't remember what it was. But yeah, it's apparently it's got some good reviews and it won some awards or something, like Sundance or something like that. Then he did a stand-up documentary about with Nick Offerman called American Ham in 2014. Then he got Kong Skull Island, which he directed. Really well, if you ask me, and I'll get into that a little bit. He did 5 episodes of Funny or Die Presents. He did 3 episodes of Death Valley. He did something called Mashup. You're the Worst, which is on FX, I believe. And then he was the film director. Oh wait, what? There's. He was in the video game Death Stranding as a film director, likeness only. He didn't do voice or motion capture, I guess. But he is slated to do the Metal Gear Solid movie, which does not have a release date yet. So he does. I'll say this: I have never seen anything else he's done except for Kong Skull Island, and I don't think I saw the Nick Offerman one, unless that's the one where he talks about the used hankies. Is that what it was in that one? I can't remember which one it was. I watched the Nick Offerman special. I don't remember which one it was, but it might be that one. But from Kong Skull Island, he does war stuff very well. Especially there's some pretty gnarly battle, war type scenes in this, which is pretty good. I liked it a lot. And it may not even be fully him because he does have a cinematographer in this movie. But It was a very enjoyable movie. I enjoyed it a lot, and I hope to see more stuff by him. Boom. This movie had a lot of writers on it, which is, cool and all. But it seems like a lot of people put their hands in it. But again, the one thing about this movie is it was obviously set up in Godzilla, but this is setting up other themes going out through the other movies, and I'll get to that in a little bit. And the reason I did this movie or went to this movie last, because technically this movie takes place before the other two movies. So you could have talked about that one, this one first, but this one has, I think, the biggest. Not the biggest, but it explains a lot of the stuff, or has a lot of stuff that is explained in the King of the Monsters, as well as what's probably coming up in Godzilla versus Kong. So that's cool and all. No, that's not the one I wanted. So writers, I lost where I was at on my list of stuff to talk about. So the screenplay has 3 different people attached to it: Dan Gilroy, Max Borenstein, and Derek Connolly, with a story by John Gattens. So I don't know I don't know too much about how this was structured and who did what, and they're all tied to different parts of it or different iterations of the script. But they're all have done numerous things. Dan Gilroy probably has the oldest of the careers of the writers credited for this movie. His filmography dates back the farthest to 1992 with Free Jack, which is a movie most people nowadays probably haven't ever heard of, but has some interesting cast members in it. So it has Emilio Estevez, Mick Jagger, Rene Russo, and Anthony Hopkins in it. It's a science fiction cyberpunk movie. It's adapted by a novel, or loosely adapted from a novel from 1959. But a very interesting movie. Then he did a movie called Chasers 2 years later. Then he did Two for the Money, which had Rene Russo in it again, but also had Matthew McConaughey and Al Pacino in it. Then there's The Fall, which I actually really like, and one day I will talk about that movie probably. It is with this Lee Pace in it, but that's for another day. Then he did Real Steel, the story Real Steel, which I talked about on this here podcast. The Bourne Legacy, Nightcrawler, which is he also directed, which is a fantastic movie. He obviously writer on Kong Skull Island. Something called Roman J. Israel Esquire. He also directed that one, and then Velvet Buzzsaw on Netflix. He directed that one and wrote that one as well. So, like I said, not a huge resume, but quite a few resume or better things on there that people have actually heard of. This is where kind of the water gets murky, because this next gentleman is tied to all the movies, and I think he's kind of the story dude for all of it, because he started on Godzilla. Then he co-wrote Kong Skull Island with Dan Gilroy and Derek Connolly, and then he co-wrote the story for Godzilla King of Monsters with Michael Daughtry and Zach Shields, who actually, I believe, have writing credits on that, if I'm mistaken, from last week when I was talking about it. And then he is also co-writing Godzilla versus Kong with Eric Pearson, which obviously comes out now, and there's a reason I'm talking about these movies. And then he wrote and produced a movie called Worth, that was I don't know what it's actually about, to tell you the truth. I don't know. And then something called Hypnotic, which he's writing with Robert Rodriguez, which is not a release date. I don't know what it is. And then he wrote and executive produced the Minority Report miniseries, as they call it now, or failed TV show from 2015. And then he did the second season of The Terror on AMC, where he helped create that one with a couple other people and executive produced that one. And then he's doing the as of yet untitled miniseries about the Lakers for HBO. So that's interesting as well. So that is Max Borenstein. Max Borenstein followed up with co-writing on with a gentleman named Derek Connolly. He has worked on a few different things: Safety Not Guaranteed, Jurassic World, Monster Trucks, which is the one about the aliens that live inside truck bodies or some nonsense. Then he did Fallen Kingdom, the Pokemon Detective Pikachu, Rise of Skywalker, story by, and the newest Jurassic World, Dominion, which will be out later this year, I believe. It's still slated for this year, but he co-wrote that with along with he co-wrote that, Rise of the Skywalker, and the other Jurassic World movies with Colin Trevorrow, because Colin Trevorrow was originally set to direct the last of the newer Star Wars movies until he had other obligations. He couldn't do it because of other stuff he was doing, mainly Jurassic World. And then, of course, J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio came in and got the screenplay credits for that one because the story was based on what they were originally working with. So anyways, yeah. So that's Derek Connolly. The story based on a story by a dude. This was the one that was interesting to me because this dude has done a lot of stuff. Writing wise, he worked on the story or the screenplay of Real Steel. He did story for Need for Speed. Obviously a story for Kong Skull Island. So he has done a lot of he did the screenplay for Power Rangers as well. So he's done a lot of things that just doesn't. He's not the main guy on a lot of them. And apparently he's done some acting. I don't know why that's the thing. And they're all the way back from 1993. But yeah, so John Gattens, I believe is how you say his name. I could be wrong about that. But yeah, he's done a lot of different things. Collaborated with a lot of different people too. If looking through this list of stuff he's made. But yeah, that's that. So who is in this movie? Well, let me tell you who is in this movie. This movie has a very large cast. Some recognizable names as well. Some fun little things, which I pointed out to Paige when we were watching this. The first Godzilla movie had Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch in it. Pietro and Wanda Maximoff from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where they were brother and sister. And of course, in this movie, in Godzilla, they were a married couple. And then in this movie, the second in the line of movies, you have Tom Hiddleston, who is Loki in the MCU. You have Brie Larson, who is Captain Marvel in the MCU, and you had Samuel L. Jackson, who is Nick Fury in the MCU. And then, if you really want to stretch even farther, this also has Toby Kebbell in it, who is Doctor Doom in the Fantastic Four movie that came out in 2006. No. Where's Toby's? Was it 2016 or was it 2015? 2015. He played Victor Von Doom / Doctor Doom. I like Toby Kebbell, and I love him in all sorts of things. One of my favorite roles he's ever was in was Guy Ritchie's Rock and Rolla. and I really wish they would continue on with those set of movies, because he was poised to be a bigger part in the next one, and maybe, who knows, with Guy Ritchie coming out and doing other stuff, maybe he'll go back and revisit that, because it would be amazing, and I would like to see what they do with Johnny Quid. But yeah, and that's Tobey Ball with him. With him later. But so this had Tom Hiddleston in it, of course, as I said, who plays Loki in the MCU. Tom Hiddleston has done a lot of things. I'm not going to go through everyone's credits, because a lot of these people have done a lot of different things, and I've actually talked about Tom Hiddleston a couple times on this here podcast. At least once I know of, because I did Crimson Peak, which he was in that one, which is a fantastic movie if you want to watch a good scary movie. Not a scary movie, ghost movie. I shouldn't say scary movie. There's some pretty creepy shit in it, but it's not like scary. But it's a good, cool ghost movie, directed by Guillermo del Toro. There's also, he's done television-wise, he's done a bunch of stuff, doing a bunch of TV movies. Nothing massive, like no long stints on anything, except for something called Suburban Shoutout, which is in 2006. That was obviously before his entrance into the Marvel MCU and with Thor. But one of the big things I know that I've seen and I watched and I enjoyed was The Night Manager. It was a miniseries on I think it's a co-production that was done between BBC and AMC, I think. I can't remember. I know I watched it on AMC here in America, but I know it's a British production that they did. But it's that one has a lot of fucking really good people in it. The two mains are Tom Hiddleston and Hugh Laurie of House fame. But it is based on a book of the same name by John le Carre, I think is how you say his name. But that's a really good miniseries. Yeah, I was right. BBC won on BBC won, and then AMC in 2016. Later in 2016 is when I watched it. Pretty good. It was a really good show. So yeah, that's Tom Hiddleston. You know him. He's Loki. Samuel Jackson, obviously, his career is way too long for me to go over the whole thing. So much so that Wikipedia, if you look at it, brings you to different pages for list of performances that Samuel Jackson has done. But he's Nick Fury in the current Marvel Cinematic Universe. He was in Jurassic World, Jackie Brown, Django Unchained, Pulp Fiction. He's been in He's Coming to America. I wish he was in Coming to America too, but whatever. Or Coming to America, not Coming to America, but Coming to America. But anyways, yeah, so that's Samuel Jackson. You guys know who that is. John Goodman is in this movie. John Goodman, of course, is most famously from the television program Roseanne, which is currently called The Conners, which I think is still going on. But he's amazing in so many different things. He's had a lot of small roles, a lot of big roles. Big Lebowski, obviously, is one of the big ones. 10 Cloverfield Lane, which I talked about previously in this month's episodes. So he's in that one. He was in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? He was in he was in King Ralph. Flintstones, Babe. Trying to think of other things he was in. He's been in so many different things; it's ridiculous. But yeah, he's awesome. He's in the Monster Inc. movies. I think he may be coming back for the Monsters Inc. Show too. I wonder if he is. Let's see if he's listed as coming back. Oh my God, Monsters at Work. There he is, James P. Sully Sullivan. That's pretty cool. So he's doing the voice of that again. So that's pretty fun. think it's John Goodman. He does have a movie I want to see that I think he's in a little. I don't know if how much he's actually in it, and I don't think I ever brought it up on this podcast, but I think we talked about it on the main podcast. It was a movie that came out. I want to say it was in 2019, and it's called Captive State. It's about alien invasion, or the aftermath of. So I want to see that one. And he's not really massive in that movie. I don't think he's plays a major role. I think he has a large role, but he's not a main in it. But it has a really good cast. From what I've seen of people I know of, I just don't know like all their names. But I'm like, oh yeah, that guy or that lady, they're in that one. So that one's it's a pretty cool looking movie. I need to watch that one. And I would like to say I would, I wanted to watch that one. And that was directed by Rupert Wyatt. Rupert Wyatt is the guy who did the second film. Was it right? He did Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Yeah, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Really good movie. Plus, he did The Escapist. If you guys ever, I don't know if you ever saw that one. That one's really good. Has Joseph Fiennes, Brian Cox, some other people in it too. I can't remember who else is in it, but it's a good movie too. But anyways, that's we're not talking about that today. But yeah, Captive State. Check it out if you want. But John Goodman has done tons of different things, and he's pretty much awesome in all of them. And he was in, I think I've talked about it before, not in like detail or like focused on it, but there's this movie called Death Sentence, where he has a bit role in it, but it's from 2007, and it has Kevin Bacon in it, and what's his name? Kid from Tron Legacy. Oh my God, what's his name? I'm calling Garrett Hudland was in it. Fantastic movie. You should watch that one. It's a good one too. It's a real good. It's a gory one. So if you don't like violence, don't watch that one. But I like that movie a lot. It's a very underrated movie if you ask me. But yeah, it's John Goodman. Next up, Brie Larson. Brie Larson, like I said, she's Captain Marvel in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. A lot of people, she's done so many things. She has a very large career. Some people don't really know her that well. She's done television. She's done movies. She did, where is it? Raising Dad for 22 episodes. Was on WB, I think. She's done individual episodes of different things. Mostly as herself recently. But she was on Community for a handful of episodes. But movie-wise, she got her movie start back in 13 going on 30. But she's been in a ton of different movies all over the place. I think the movie that I always remember her from, other than obviously Captain Marvel, and it's not even a newer one. It's an older one. What year was that one? 2010. She played what was her character's name? Natalie Envy Adams, which is the former love interest of Scott Pilgrim in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. She was the lead singer of the band. But where is it? Is it Housebroken? I want to say it's Housebroken. This is what I'm thinking of. Yeah, Danny DeVito. I wouldn't say it's a very large part. She's in it. But whenever I always think of this movie because it's ridiculous. You should look it up if you ever have a chance. It's called Housebroken from 2009. But anyways, but yeah, she's will ever for always be Envy from Scott Pilgrim versus the World, but she's definitely always gonna be Captain Marvel from now on, because she was the first MCU or female MCU superhero to get her own movie and her own sequel coming out next year or year after, I can't remember. Then we have Jing Tian. I don't know of anything really she's done. I talked about her once before because she was in Pacific Rim Uprising. She was in Kong Skull Island. A lot of other stuff I don't really know her from, so can't really help you there. But she has a small role in this one. We have Toby Cabal, like I was telling, or Kebbell. I don't think I always say his name wrong. It's Toby. I think it's Kebbell. Cabell. I'm not too sure. I always say Cabal, but it's not right. It's Kebbell, which is Kebbell or Kebbell. I'm not too sure. I'm an idiot when it comes to names, in most words, really, to tell you the truth. But Toby Cabell, Kebbell, has done a lot of things I liked. He has been, he's I think one of the first movies I remember him from was Alexander. That's super fucking long ass movie, by Oliver Stone, about Alexander the Great. But I remember from that one. I also, like I said earlier, always will forever be Johnny Quid from Rock and Rolla. No matter what. He was in Pirates of the Caribbean. Not Pirates of the Caribbean. He was in, when I talked about it last time, he was in Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time. I don't know why I said Pirates of the Caribbean. It was really weird. He probably could have been in Pirates of the Caribbean. Would have made a good pirate. Would have made actually pretty good Jack Sparrow if you think about it. But anyways, that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about Pirates of the Caribbean. Then he was in Sorcerer's Apprentice. He was a small role in that one, but he was really funny. He was Drake Stone in that one. I like that movie a lot, and I believe I've talked about that movie on here. Did I? I don't know if I did or not. I forget what I've done on this show. He was in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. He played Koba. I guess you should know that he's there was he was I can't remember. Anyways, he did motion capture and the facial blah blah blah, which actually led to him working for motion capture on for King Kong on Kong Skull Island. He actually did. I don't think he did full motion capture. That was done by another person. But he did. I guess reading it, he did some facial stuff for Kong. And I think some like emotion stuff, things like that. So yeah, it's pretty cool. He was in Warcraft. He was in Ben-Hur. He was in, like I said, Fantastic Four. 2 years before he was in this. He's been in a lot of stuff. Many things I've never seen. He was in the newest. He was in Bloodshot last year. Television-wise, I've never actually seen him in anything on TV. He does have a show currently running. I think he even got set for a third season called Servant on Apple TV, which is a M. Night Shyamalan produced show. I don't think he directs it. I could be wrong about that, but I haven't watched it, so I'm not too sure. But he's in that as well, and it's currently going on. Yeah. That's Toby Kebbell? Kebbell? I'm not too sure. Again, I'm dumb with names. Next up, we have Corey Hawkins. Corey Hawkins plays the only character besides Kong who appears in another movie, but he's not playing that character in both movies. It's different, played by somebody else. And I believe I talked about this last week. It's Joe Morton's character from Godzilla King of the Monsters, who has a small role or a small scene after Mothra hibernates under the waterfall and transforms into the giant moth version. he is there, and he's still working for Monarch, and that's pretty cool. So that character, his name is Houston Brooks, or Dr. Brooks in the later version, and I think he might be a doctor in this too, but I believe they referred to him as Dr. Brooks in King of the Monsters, Godzilla King of the Monsters. So that's pretty cool. So he's like the only real character, his character is the only that kind of transcends over so far. But I can't imagine anybody else from Kong Skull Island's character coming over, because a lot of the main ones died. I was trying to look for links between Brie Larson's character and Tom Hiddleston's character and some of the other characters to come over, but he's the only one that I didn't find. Like, I was like, oh, I discovered it. It's listed in the credits for Joe Morton's character, that his character was in Kong Skull Island. So it's not like I uncovered a secret, but I thought it was pretty cool that he's like the only one that goes across. But Corey Hawkins, I've only seen in a handful of things. I don't know his career super, super well. One of his earliest ones that I don't know if I remember him from, but he was in Iron Man 3. So that's pretty cool because he's another person that's in the MCU. But again, he's not like a main character, so I didn't bring up earlier. Then he was Dr. Dre in Straight Outta Compton, which is what I knew him from before that, before Kong Skull Island. And then he was in Black Klansman, fantastic movie as well if you haven't seen that one. He was in he's going to be in The Heights, which is going to be on I want to say that's one of the ones on HBO Max as well, right? I think it's also in theaters. But it's a Lin-Manuel Miranda production. He wrote the play, or Broadway, I think it's still considered a play. Most people will actually know him as Heath from The Walking Dead season 6 and 7. Had a recurring role in 5, but main cast in 6 and 7. And then he was Eric Carter in the 24 sequel-ish reboot thing called 24 Legacy. He was the main role in that one. That's all I know him from. He was in 6 Underground too. I forgot about that one. The one with Michael Bay did with Ryan Reynolds and all those other people. Batshit crazy movie. Pretty cool too. Oh, and he's in Nonstop, which is a good movie as well if you haven't seen that one. With Liam Neeson and Julianne Moore. It's a train one. Or not train one, the plane one, international flight one. Because then he made a train one also as The Commuter, I believe. But Corey wasn't that one, so it doesn't matter. So that's Corey Hawkins, everybody. Pretty cool. Next up is I'm gonna rapid fire through these ones because they're not as big until the very last person. But he's whatever. You have Jason Mitchell. Probably best known for playing Eazy-E and Straight Outta Compton, if you ask me. That's where I know him from, but he's been in a lot of different things. Not too many I've seen, by the way. I should say that. But he was really good in Straight Outta Compton. And which is also, I guess I should bring that up too. That's the other thing that's crazy about this series of movies, because you have three different people. Because you have O'Shea Jackson Jr., who played Ice Cube, his father, in Straight Outta Compton, who was in Godzilla King of Monsters. Then you had Corey Hawkins, who played Dr. Dre in Straight Outta Compton and Kong Skull Island, along with Jason Mitchell, who played Eazy-E from Straight Outta Compton. So that's pretty cool. Another little link of like characters that are in these. And I mean, that's if you haven't seen Straight Outta Compton, by the way, there's a weird tangent. You should see it. It's a fantastic movie, well acted, extremely well acted. O'Shea Jackson Jr. is phenomenal in it. Plays his dad, which is weird. But yeah, everyone's really good in it. One of my favorite actors who's I think really on the cusp of like being massive right now. His name is Aldous Hodge. He is currently in City on the Hill on Showtime or Stars. I should look that up. I don't know what it is. But he was in The Invisible Man just recently. He's been in a lot of different things. I like him a lot, so if you check him out. But yeah, you should see Straight Outta Compton. It's a really good movie if you haven't seen it before. I wish I would have saw it in theaters, though. I'll tell you that right now. I really do wish I would have saw it in theaters, but I did not go see it in theaters. Why? It's just one of those movies I didn't think it was going to be very good, to tell you the truth. The trailers were like, oh, yeah, that like be good, but I don't know if I wanted to see it or not. But I heard a lot of good stuff about it, and it came out in digital, and I watched it, and I was like, oh, shit, this movie is really, really good. So, yeah, that's Jason Mitchell. Shea Wigham, I don't know how to say his last name. He is, for me, he's probably best known for Boardwalk Empire, where he played Eli or Elias Thompson. But he was also in the first season of True Detective, which I really liked as well. I actually liked the first season a lot. Second season was not that great. I never watched the third season, but I heard really good things about the third season, but I never watched it. And I guess he's in Fast and Furious and Fast and Furious 6. I don't know if that's... I don't think I've ever seen 6, so I don't know. Actually, is Fast and Furious, is that the original one? Is that the first? No. That's the one from 2009. Shit, okay, I haven't seen that one at all either. I haven't seen a lot of those movies, so I don't know. But, yeah, so he to me, is going to be Eli from Boardwalk Empire, or... I can't think of his character's name from, I just read Eli, so it's not, I knew it off the top of my head, from True Detective, but he's in that one, he's really good too. Or that show is really good, the first season's fucking phenomenal. He was in Numbers for an episode, he was on, like I said, Boardwalk Empire for 49 episodes. He was in Agent Carter, I forgot about that was pretty cool. Joel Thurrott, 2 episodes of True Detective, he's really good in that one. He was in Narcos too. I forgot about that one too. Oh, he was in Waco. I never watched Waco. That movie or that show looked pretty cool. About the Waco things. And then I forgot. Most recently, phenomenal show came out last year. Perry Mason. He played a co-lead in that one. It's a main role, but he's like he's not Perry Mason, but he's his like partner Pete, and he's really good in that one. But yeah, so yeah, that's Shea Wigham, I think is how you say his name. Next up is Thomas Mann, the actor. I don't know what else that's supposed to mean. I guess there's another famous-ish person named Thomas Mann. I had to look up who he was because I thought he was somebody else. But he's in a movie I actually talked about on this here podcast a while back called Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters. I believe I talked about it on this podcast. It's fantastic. He's also in Me, Earl, and the Dead Girl, which is a really good movie too, from 2015. Yes, 2015. So yeah, he's in that. I don't know of... I never saw Project X. I don't know that how good that movie is, but I know Me, Earl, and the Dead Girl. He that's a really good movie, and he's a fairly large role in that movie. I would say fairly large role in that movie. I want to say he is the main-ish character. Yeah, main character. Greg Gaines. Along with Olivia Cook and R.J. Seiler. I cannot talk today, and names are really throwing me off. And then there's a lot of other things I think I've seen in here, but I don't know if I can be like, oh yeah, he's in that one. Actually, looking at this one, The Highwaymen on Netflix, that was a good one too. He was in Lady and the Tramp. I actually haven't watched that, so did not know that. He was on an episode of iCarly, so that's cool. So that's Thomas Mann. He is an actor who's in this movie as well as on other stuff. Next up is Terry Natori. He is he's done a lot of different things. Planet of the Apes reboot. Once he was in the Hobbit movies. He was in Avengers. That was the other. I forgot he was in that one too. He is. He's a stunt coordinator. Is the biggest thing. Role wise, I don't know if he's ever really had a real big role. In this one, he was in the opening scene. Played. I want to say, wasn't he the? Where's it at? The mocap for Kong and something else, right? Didn't he? Yeah, I thought he had another role in this one too. Or maybe he didn't. Maybe not. Maybe he was just motion capturing that. Anyways, he's done a lot of different things. A lot of mocap stuff. A lot of choreography work. He worked on, well, like I said, the Hobbit movies, the reboot of Planet of the Apes. He was he in all of them, or was he just in 2 and 3? Oh, no, he was in the first one too. Actually, because he stunt doubled Tim Roth's character, as well as did voices as well, other voices. But yeah, he's doing a lot of different stuff, and he's done a lot of stuff actually. Oh, he was in. He did stunt work in Doctor Sleep. That's pretty cool. Mocap in Lion King as well. But he played mocap performer for Groot in Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame. That's about. I think that's really it, right? Oh, he also played a role in that one. Oh, Cole Obsidian. Oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, he did the voice too. That's cool. In the motion capture. Yeah, so that's that. And last but not least, John C. Reilly. John C. Reilly is fantastic in this movie. He plays a character who's been on Skull Island for 28 years after crashing during World War II, where he has not been able to get off this island, and he had to survive and became part of the indigenous people, or at least not killed by the indigenous people. Come to be able to communicate with them and different things like that. But he's kind of a little bit loony, and has the biggest developed story through it. His character's in 3 parts of the movie. The opening scene where the planes crash and he fights, and then they first see Kong. 20 years later, he shows up as the survivor on this island, and then he gets a little thing after the credits where he gets to go home and to his wife and his now 28-year-old son, or 27 to be 28-year-old son he's never met before, because he was thought to be dead in the war and World War II. So that's pretty cool. And he got to watch his Cubs play baseball, and he get to drink a beer and eat a hot dog. So that's pretty fun. And if you see the movie, you'll understand what that means. So John C. Reilly's been in a lot of different things. He's in Wreck-It Ralph. He's in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's in Talladega Nights, Ballad of Ricky Bobby. He was in Step Brothers. He's been in a lot of different stuff. He's pretty awesome in most everything. I never saw the Sherlock movie with what's his face, because it looked terrible. But yeah, we were reaching the 44 minute mark. So I need to hurry this up. So what links this movie to why I did this one last? So technically speaking, this came out second, so I should have watched it second. But I did King Kong. I did Godzilla and Godzilla King of Monsters because it's Godzilla movies together. But really, I saved this one because I should have done this one first if I was thinking about it, or a different way. But the reason I was thinking about it this way is this one leads into a lot of things that were explored in or King of the Monsters, but then now is probably going to have a very big impact on Godzilla versus Kong. and it all has to do with the Hollow Earth theory that was first explained in this movie, and then later proven, I guess you could say, in King of the Monsters. But I have a feeling the opening part of Godzilla vs. Kong is going to take place on Skull Island, and he's going to be a very major focus of that because they need him to... I shouldn't say. The movie's probably not going to open on Skull Island, but the big portion of the opening movie is going to be on Skull Island, I think, because they're going to tell you basically what's been going on with Kong since the events of Kong Skull Island, which all have to do with... which took place in the year 1973, I believe. Well, it started in 1944, but it's the bulk of the movie takes place in 1973. And then now, obviously, many years in the future, 40-something years in the future, Kong is now much bigger. He is more formidable. Somehow Monarch has been with him for a long time. I think it's where Thomas Hiddleston's character comes from. Or not Thomas, Alexander Skarsgård's character. And Rebecca Hall's character and the little girl all have to do with that. I think that's part of it. But anyways, that's why I did this one, because this one, I think, is the direct link into what we see for the bulk part of the first part of the... Not bulk, but the first part of the major part of the movie. Because probably the movie's going to start off like Godzilla fucking shit up because he's like on a rampage doing something or other. I think it's because they're... If I had a theory about it, is Mechagodzilla has the orca in it, and it's driving Godzilla crazy, and they're using it to drag him out so they can use Mechagodzilla to kill him. But nobody knows that. They just think Godzilla's going ape shit, so they send an ape to fight him, which is King Kong. Ipso facto, they fight. Boom, that's the movie. Mechagodzilla comes out. I think there's probably more. I think a redone version of King Ghidorah, because I think there's a red herring going on. Because if you saw, and I talked about it, I think I talked about it. Maybe I didn't. In Godzilla King of the Monsters, at the end, Roose Bolton... Or not Roose Bolton, I'm sorry. That was not Roose Bolton. Roose Bolton was a different character. He's the Targaryen. Or not Targaryen. He was the Lannister. The dad. The one that got shot on the shitter. Anyways. He got the head of the ripped off head of Ghidorah that was at the South America fight when Godzilla ripped his head off. And then later it regrew, but he ripped that head off. And then he was that one in South America, or did he regrow in South America? No, that's where it was. That's where it happened. Anyways, yeah, it was because that's where they had the fishing stuff. Anyhow, so he has that. So I think we're gonna see a tease for... We're either gonna see or we're gonna see a tease for Mecha Ghidorah as well. But I think the main antagonist in this movie is gonna be Mechagodzilla. I think. Isn't it gonna be? I don't think they're gonna... I mean, they could have both of them fight. Like, Kong could take out Mechagodzilla while Godzilla takes out Mecha King Ghidorah, but I don't know if that's gonna be what they're doing in this one, or just tease the fact that Dude has been working on building that one as well. I don't know. But all I know is they teased Mechagodzilla, and he looks very reminiscent to the OG Japanese version, which is very blocky and ridiculous and not as smooth and I don't even know if it's man-powered or whatever it is. They could have taken the brain of Ghidorah and put it in this Mechagodzilla and let that one fight. I don't know how it's going to work, but I'll see tomorrow because I have tickets, or tomorrow. When you're hearing this, I am going to go see this movie in theaters, but if you're listening to this after the fact, I have seen this movie and I don't know too much about it yet, other than my weird crackpot theories or like thrown together shit from the trailers I watch, because I try not to read too much about it. But anyways, that's it for this week's episode. That's it for this month's theme of massive movie monsters for March of 2021. Tune in next month where I will be talking about fighting movies. I don't know all of them yet, but Bloodsport's going to be in there, and probably Kickboxer as well, because Mortal Kombat's coming out again on HBO Max as well as in theaters. That I don't have tickets for yet, but I think I don't know if it's going to be good or not, but I wanted to talk about fighting movies because I was like, oh, there's all these cool fighting movies. And most of them are going to be probably in the 80s because I don't know of too many. Well, actually, I might talk about Warrior because I haven't talked about it on here. I might talk about Warrior. Warrior's a good one. All right, cool. Anyhow, tune in next month when I talk about fighting movies of some sort because of Mortal Kombat. And I will not be talking about the Mortal Kombat movies themselves because they're horrendous. But I may talk about the new one, the new Mortal Kombat movie, because I believe it comes out on the 16th. So I'll be able to talk about it on this here podcast. Anyways, tune in next month for all new theme of fighting movies, awesome fighting movies, whatever I want to call it. In anticipation of Mortal Kombat, the reboot, much more R-rated, violent version, what it should be. Anyhow, that's it for this week's episode of The Awesome with Cody. I have been your host, Cody, and as usual, let's be awesome.